Hello and welcome everyone. We have an interesting topic to discuss today. Picture this, a single word, act, woven into various phrases and idioms, each with its unique meaning and context. Intriguing, isn't it? Today, we'll be unraveling these expressions, exploring their meanings, and illustrating them with examples. From act of God to act of war, we've got a lot to cover. This will surely enrich your language and make your conversations more engaging. So without any further ado, let's dive into these phrases and idioms. Starting off with our first idiom, act of God. This phrase refers to a natural disaster or any event that is beyond human control. For instance, if your insurance policy mentions acts of God, it means it covers damages caused by events like earthquakes and floods. Moving on to the second idiom for today, act your age. This idiom is a directive to behave in a manner that is appropriate for your age. It's often used when someone is behaving immaturely or irresponsibly. For example, if a grown-up is fooling around instead of focusing on a serious task, you might tell them to stop playing around and act your age. Up next is the idiom put on an act. When someone puts on an act, they are pretending or behaving in a way that is not genuine. It's like they are playing a role in a drama, but in real life. An example could be a child who puts on an act of being sick to avoid going to school. They might pretend to have a fever or a stomach ache to convince their parents that they can't go to school. So to recap, we've covered 3 idioms so far: act of God, act your age, and put on an act. Each of these idioms uses the word act in a unique way, demonstrating the versatility of language. Whether it's referring to an uncontrollable event, a directive for maturity, or a pretense, act plays a crucial role in conveying the intended message. That's 3 idioms down. Let's keep the momentum going. Moving on, our next idiom is act out. This is a phrase often used to describe the expression of feelings or emotions through behavior rather than words. It's often used when discussing children or individuals who may not have the words to express what they're feeling. For example, the child acted out his frustration by throwing a tantrum. This shows that the child used behavior, in this case a tantrum, to express their feelings of frustration. Next up, we have act of kindness. This phrase refers to a gesture or action done to help others without expecting anything in return. It's a beautiful expression of goodwill and humanity. For instance, his act of kindness towards the homeless man touched many hearts. This example demonstrates how an act of kindness can have profound effects, not only on the person receiving the kindness, but also on those who witness it. Our next idiom is act fast. This phrase is all about speed and urgency. It's used when there's a need to respond quickly or take immediate action. For instance, we need to act fast before the opportunity slips away. This example illustrates a situation where quick action is required to seize an opportunity before it's gone. There you have it, 3 more idioms using the word act in different contexts. From expressing emotions through behavior with act out, to selfless gestures with act of kindness, and the need for urgency with act fast. Each of these phrases brings a unique color and depth to our language, allowing us to express complex ideas and situations with just a few words. We're halfway through our list. Are you ready for more? Let's proceed with the next idiom, caught in the act. This phrase is used when someone is discovered doing something wrong or even illegal. Picture this, a thief is sneaking around a house. He's just about to make off with the family jewels when, snap, the security cameras catch him in the act. He's not just a suspected thief now, he's a confirmed one. Moving on, we have act one's age. This idiom is a bit similar to act your age we discussed earlier. It's a polite, or sometimes not so polite, way of telling someone to behave according to their chronological age. For instance, imagine a middle-aged man acting like a teenager at a party. Someone might tell him, it's time to act your age and take responsibility for your actions. It's a call to maturity, a reminder that our behavior should reflect our life experience. Next up is act up. This phrase doesn't just apply to people. It's used when something or someone is misbehaving or not functioning correctly. Let's say you're rushing to meet a deadline, but your computer decides it's the perfect time to go haywire. You might say, my computer always seems to act up when I'm in a hurry. It's a phrase that captures the frustration of dealing with unpredictable behavior or technical issues. Lastly, for this segment, we have act of war. This is a serious one. It refers to an action by one country against another that is considered an act of aggression. For example, the bombing of the naval base was considered an act of war by the neighboring country. It's a phrase that underscores the gravity of certain actions on the international stage. So there you have it. More idioms with act, each with their unique meanings and contexts. Just a couple more to go. Let's continue. Next up is act up. This idiom refers to misbehaving or functioning improperly. It's often used to describe electronic devices or children. For instance, my computer always seems to act up when I'm in a hurry. Here, the speaker's computer is not functioning properly. Similarly, if a child is misbehaving, we can say, "My little brother is acting up today." Moving on to the final idiom for today, act of war. It is a phrase used in the context of international relations and military conflicts. An act of war is an action by one country against another that is considered an act of aggression. For instance, the bombing of the naval base was considered an act of war by the neighboring country. In this example, the bombing is viewed as an aggressive action, thus an act of war. So there you have it, 2 more idioms with the word act, their meanings, and how to use them in sentences. Remember, idioms are a great way to add color to your language and make your speech or writing more engaging. But, like all things in language, idioms should be used appropriately and in the right context. Today, we've covered a total of 10 idioms with the word act. We've seen how act can be used in phrases to describe everything from natural disasters to misbehavior, from pretense to acts of aggression. Each idiom carries its unique flavor and meaning, adding depth to our conversation. That wraps up our list of idioms with the word act. But don't go just yet. Stay tuned for more exciting explorations into the world of language, idioms, and expressions. Remember, language is not just about communication. It's about expressing yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, and your perspectives in the most engaging way possible. So, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep expressing. Let's summarize what we've learned today. We've explored 10 intriguing idioms and phrases featuring the word act. Each of these idioms has enriched our understanding of the English language and its nuances. We started with act of God, an idiom that refers to natural events beyond human control. Then we discussed act your age, a phrase urging someone to behave appropriately for their age. We also explored put on an act, meaning to pretend or put up a facade. We then delved into act out, which means expressing emotions through actions rather than words. We also discussed act of kindness, a phrase referring to selfless gestures that benefit others. Next, we unpacked act fast, an idiom urging swift action. We also examined caught in the act, meaning being discovered while doing something wrong. We then looked at act one's age, which is similar to act your age, emphasizing maturity and responsibility. We also explained act up, which can refer to both misbehaving and malfunctioning. Finally, we explored act of war, an idiom that refers to an aggressive action by one country against another. These idioms allow us to express complex ideas and situations in a concise and colorful way. They're a vital part of our linguistic toolkit, adding depth and vibrancy to our conversations and writings. Thank you for joining us today. Stay curious, stay interested, and keep learning. Until next time.